What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Ramboprah Radio. So happy to talk to you guys. Yeah. Want to talk some UFC, the finale, the tough finale. I want to talk 213. I want to talk Fight Night coming up Sunday. And I want to talk about that Conor McGregor press conference. So let's get started. Yeah. So the tough finale, wow, what an awesome fight between Michael Johnson and Justin Gaethje. Miss Cleo told you about Justin Gaethje, so I hope and pray that you put some money on Justin Gaethje, my boy, because he got the W. Shout out if you did. If you didn't, you snooze, you lose. Justin Gaethje's been putting on fights like that before he got into the UFC, but this one was the best one by far. So shout out to Justin Gaethje for that. Michael Johnson was winning. The fight had him dazed several times. I counted at least 3 or 4 times in that fight. And for whatever reason, Justin Gaethje just has a cinder block for a chin and would not go down. He refused to lose, and eventually came back and smashed Michael Johnson, put him down, and was so stunned that he tried to climb the fence twice to do his coveted backflip celebration and fell off twice. That's pretty scary. That's how knocked out he was. And on the third try, got it. So kudos to Justin Gaethje. Michael Johnson, this might be looking for the end of the road for you. I say maybe you got 1-2 more fights left in the UFC, and if they aren't wins and if they aren't spectacular, you are done. Sorry. Another good fight on the card, Jesse Taylor getting his shout out at redemption. Basically was all set to be a part of the UFC a couple of years back on The Ultimate Fighter, but fucked it all up by going out on a bender the night before the fights and kicking out limousine windows and saying he was a UFC fighter. He could do whatever he wanted, just acting crazy, and the UFC cut him. Then eventually he had to fight on the smaller shows to get his respect back and show the UFC brass that he is taking the fight game very seriously now. He's a lot older. That was maybe 6 years ago roughly that incident happened. So that 6 years Jesse Taylor has been grinding, and I'm so pumped that he finally got back into the UFC and got that UFC contract. I am slightly concerned that he is a little bit older, of course, in MMA years. Age is not on your side. But I'm hoping that this time around that Jesse Taylor can do some work in the UFC. So shout out to him. UFC 213 recap. Travis Brown, what in the hell are you still doing in a UFC ring? It's over, Johnny. It's over. You have found Ronda Rousey, and you two need to ride off in the sunset because it's fucking over. This guy, he always starts off so well and then fades. His cardio just fades, and I attribute that to not being at Jackson's anymore. I literally, truly believe that Travis Brown was a better fighter at Jackson's, and once he left that gym, has been a steaming pile of S since then. Since he's joined Edmonds' gym, aka Ronda Rousey's terrible coach, he has been 2 wins, 6 losses. That is a shit record. Other fighters, just to name a few, like Jake Ellenberger, Jessamine Duke, Shayna Baszler. In total, with all those fighters there, they have combined a 6 wins with 23 losses, and throw Ronda in the mix as well. So 6 wins, 23 losses. Most of those wins came from Ronda. So, man, guys, you gotta leave Edmonds' gym. It's no good. I get that maybe in the 80s he was a good championship kickboxer. Cool. Awesome. Guess what? He can't coach. He sucks. He sucks donkey dick. Everybody, you gotta leave this guy's gym. There's just plenty of gyms around in the LA area. Saxons, you got Legends, you got You got Black House. There's just so many gyms that you could go to. Box and Burn. There's just so many gyms. 10th Planet, Eddie Bravo's gym, Gracie. The list goes on and on. It's just there's no excuse for that gym to be open. Somebody needs to shut that gym down because they ain't winning. Nobody's winning. They're losing, and they're spending their money, which is not good. So, Travis Brown, do me a favor. Do us all a favor. Wave the white flag. It's over. You're not. If you can't beat Only Inc., it's over. It's over, bro. The old Pettis is back, which is freaking rad because was getting a little bit worried. It was worrying Miss Cleo's wallet because every time she's betting on Pettis the last couple fights was losing big. So I'm glad the old Pettis is back. Demolishes Jim Miller, which is no slouch at all. Jim Miller, thank you so much for losing. Like I said, remember what I told you, Jim? If I don't bet against you, I'm going to need you to lose. If I bet on you, I need you to win. So Jim Miller, I bet against him, and he lost. So thank you, Jim Miller. Verdum, Overeem. Oh my gosh. What a... meh. That was a safety fight. I literally just felt both fighters didn't really take much of a chance. Overeem played it real safe because he was pretty much in line for the next title shot after this next fight. But unfortunately, because he played it safe in the fight, Dana White, Uncle Dana, said that fight will not guarantee you a championship fight. So Alistair Overeem back to the drawing board. It was a controversial win for Overeem due to the fact that the first round and a half, potentially went to Overeem, potentially went to Verdum, and then the last round definitely went to Verdum. So controversial to say the least as the judges, but Overeem gets the win. He did say that he will do whatever he needs to do to get that title shot. How about knock a motherfucker out? Let's start there with some knockouts, okay? Uncle Dana and the fans, we love knockouts. We don't like this playing it safe game. Nobody likes that. You're at the highest level of fighting. It's time now. It's time to take a risk. I get Verdum is very nasty on the ground, so you would want to be patient. But at the same time, you can't work your clinch. Use those Overeem knees. Use those Ubereem knees. What's going on? I mean, come on, brother. You know better. You've been in this fight game too long. Strikeforce heavyweight champion. Dream heavyweight champion. K1 heavyweight champion. There's no excuse. You know. It's time to go. Time to knock these motherfuckers out. And make the fans happy, make UFC happy. So if you want that #1 shot, Overeem, you gotta knock somebody out. Romero Whitaker, Shitspurred Romero, Shitspurred Goose Steppin' Hail Hitler Romero, Shit Steppin' Goose Fucker Romero. Pray the gay away, Romero. Man, what can I say? The MMA gods would not allow that Rato Romero to win. Whitaker got the W, and decisively. It was very close at first because Romero did some funky instep shin kick thing and just damaged Whitaker's knee. It was like dislocated or something. It was fucking wonky. But being the tough kind Whitaker is, he stayed in that fight, grinded out that win, got the W, and decimated Romero. He is now the interim champ, which in my opinion, since Bisping hasn't fought so long, he is the champ in my eyes. But of course, the true champ is Bisping until that fight goes on. I hate the fact that we have to fucking wait for this Bisping, but of course Whitaker's knee is hurt as well too. So we shall see how long that fight will have to take place because both guys are injured with knee injuries. So, but kudos to Whitaker. Bisping gets in the ring and says something completely stupid per as usual. So, I can't imagine that Bisping gets the win out of this fight once he is 100% healthy. My God, Whitaker is gonna put the ass whooping on Bisping for sure. Gunnar Nelson versus Santiago Ponzinibbio. That's for the UFC Fight Night on Sunday. That's live in Scotland, noon East, I want to say, so 9 a.m. West. Tune in, folks. It should be good. Good card for the most part, especially Gunnar Nelson is looking for revenge after that loss to Maya. So I presume that he will get the W there. Joanne Calderwood versus Cynthia Calvillo. Man, Joanne Calderwood, to me, has grown leaps and bounds in her striking. I remember watching her on the Tough Show, and I thought, how did this bitch even make it into the UFC with those hands? No, no, sir, no. No, ma'am, nah, get out of here. But since has joined GSP's gym, TriStar, with the legendary coach Fires Zahabi, and Will has improved her striking. And I am so pumped for her. I truly believe that now that she's at a great gym, she will be unstoppable in her division. So kudos to Joanne. Hope she gets a win. Miss Cleo's betting on that. So far, Miss Cleo's got Gunnar Nelson, Joanne Calderwood, and now for the toss-up fight, Paul Fielder versus Stevie Ray. Initially, when Miss Cleo saw this, she thought, well, Paul Fielder, the Irish Dragon, he trains at Rufus Sport with Tyron Woodley, with Anthony Pettis, Sergio Pettis, World Championship kickboxer Duke Rufus. This is a no-brainer, except it's Stevie motherfucking Ray. Yo, Nashville's finest, Stevie motherfucking Ray. If you remember, Stevie Ray had that fight against Joe Lozon, was getting his ass kicked, and at the last second came back to get the win. I believe it was a submission, if I'm not mistaken, or a decision, but just came back and put an ass whooping on Joe Lozon. Everybody thought Stevie Ray was out, and he came back. You just can't put this guy away. So my feelings are that this fight is pretty even. Paul Fielder's got the striking, but Stevie Ray just has so much heart. So much heart. Paul Fielder's going to have to throw everything and the kitchen sink at Stevie Ray to finish this guy, because if you give him a smidge of daylight, a half an inch, a millimeter of daylight, Stevie Ray is going to come through and smash. Yeah. So, fight of the night. I'm predicting that will be fight of the night, so watch that. Whoever this is the underdog is getting my bet. Initially it was going to be Paul Fielder, but now I feel like potentially Vegas may underestimate Stevie Ray again, and I loves me to make some coins. Paul Craig versus Khalil Roundtree. Man, this is going to be Battle of the Beasts. Another one that has the potential to be fight of the night. Initially, I went with Paul Craig because he's been training with Alex the Mauler Gustafsson in Sweden. So I presume that he's going to have some incredible striking, because that is a top secret gym. For those in the know, the MMA knows. Who else trains in there? Jenny Manawa trains there. The Timur brothers trains there. Touchy Feely trains there. Man, it's just who's who trains at that gym. So Khalil Roundtree does train at Syndicate MMA. It's another tough gym in Vegas. So, another toss-up. Whoever is the underdog, I will bet for. But just right out the gate, just looking at it, I would go Paul Craig. But man, if you Google pictures of Khalil Roundtree, he looks in the best shape of his life. And to think that that guy was over 300 pounds, whoo, that guy's got abs on top of abs. What a beast. I presume that this fight will be a battle to the death. Because both of these guys are big giant dudes who are going to throw hands. And that also has the potential to be fight of the night. So, now, if you want to go with the shady judges, since this fight is in Scotland, if you want to pick all Scottish fighters, because generally when the UFC has international fights, for whatever reason, the judges always favor the hometown heroes. So your picks would then be David Henry, Paul Craig, and Joanna Calderwood. Both of those guys, or all three of them, are Scottish fighters. So if you want to bet all Scotland, go ahead, see what happens. That's another potential bet you can do as well. So stop there, because I've got to go to work. So I will pause for a moment and resume recording in a bit. Got to go to work, so I don't want to be late, and I'm at 32% battery. So hold that thought, and I'll be back with some current events.